You're watching European Digital Day 2021. Next in the spotlight, we're looking at upskilling and reskilling. And research tells us that effective reskilling can boost productivity by 6 to 12% and have a lasting impact on success. But what countries are ahead of the pack in terms of progress and in terms of upskilling and reskilling? And who can we learn from? That's our topic. Let's meet our panelists. I'm delighted to welcome Justyna Orlowska, Poland's Prime Minister's High Representative for Government Technology and head of the GovTech Centre. Welcome to you. We're also joined by Jan von Brocke, who is board member of Digital Liechtenstein and the director of the Department of Information Systems at the University of Liechtenstein. Welcome to you as well. And Oskar Stege, who is chair of Digital Day in Sweden and senior advisor to the Wallenberg Foundation, which is one of the world's largest private foundations funding research. It's great to have all of you with us. And Oskar, I wanted to start with you with a very simple question. We've got upskilling, we've got reskilling, and we've got lifelong learning. What are the differences between all these terms?
I think the key difference, the best way to describe it is, I think, going through the lens of reskilling, because then you're actually taking on new knowledge and learning new capacities and getting new insights that will allow you to actually change your career, switch job, or do something that you didn't do before. And upskilling is rather, becoming better and more up to date with the knowledge and skills that you need, more or less, in your current role or job.
And perhaps you can give us, Oskar, an insight into your own reskilling journey, as it were, or upskilling journey.
Yeah, no, but I think I've been very involved in different reskilling schemes going in Sweden. I think the backdrop for this whole conversation we have is the very quick transformation and digitalisation sort of wind sweeping over all our countries and industries, where it's obvious that we need new abilities and new capacities, whether in our current role or actually being able to leave roles that is no longer really relevant from a job perspective, or where you have skills that is no longer required, needing to reskill. So I think at the heart of both of these two issues lies, how do you reach the individual to understand what are the capacities and what's the needs, and how can you tailor learning so that it has maximum impact for the individual? That is when we will get the value creation, regardless of who funds it or where you are in an organization or in a society in need of general upskilling.
And Jan, humor me for a moment. I mean, what kind of or attitudes do you get to the idea of upskilling? Because you obviously work with university students who've spent a long time working on their degrees. How do they feel about the fact that, once they've graduated, it's still not over?
I think it's actually really an interesting paradox we are living in, right? So on the one hand, I think we need skilling, upskilling, reskilling. It's all about skills and education plays such a huge role, I think, to flourish as an individual, but also for an economy. At the same time, nobody seems to have time to graduate and take time, to go through programs anymore. On the one hand, because everybody seems to be so busy and so actively involved in innovation and work, and on the one hand, but also most programs, if you run through them and the moment you are finished, probably the content already is dated again, right? So I think that there's really a lot of challenges there that on the one hand, it is super important to reskill, but on the other hand, really, I think we need to rethink the delivery model, how we do that, right? And what I'd love to talk about, and we are pretty active in doing this here in our Liechtenstein ecosystem, is really to develop kind of ecosystems where we can all engage, right? So where you do not go to school and learn and go home again or in your job and work, but where it's all kind of coming together in one sort of digital experience ecosystem. So on the job, on the fly, continuous, cross-sectoral, And that's something really got me excited. How can we do that?
But you're not talking yourself out of a job here yet.
Pardon?
You said you're not talking yourself out of a job here yet. You're not telling me that, you know, universities.
No, I'm not at all. No, but it's really just, what I love is really, you know, to rethink education. And I think we really need to rethink the institutional model and the delivery model, really, how we produce this. And my understanding is really a lot like school more or less is over. And school is not happening just in the school building, you know, in the classroom with the smart teachers, you know, telling you what you know. And I think we know that of course there's primary education, secondary, third education. Of course we know it's continuous education, right? But I think it has come to a point where really also the institutional logic needs to change. So education needs to walk out of the school buildings and out of the university buildings into real life, go there where people are. So not ask people to come to university to learn, but university to go out there to people and engage where they are, and you know, have knowledge on the go, education to go, so to speak, you know. And one thing, how I think we can deliver that, since we are working on new challenges all the time, is really a design-oriented way to educate, right?
Okay,
so it's not going to
let me just interrupt you on that point and get Justina's reaction to all that. You're hearing that, you know, that we need to change the way that we deliver education, but what's your reaction to that, Justina? And how important is this reskilling and this continuous learning for our economies?
Yeah, I like very much what Jan said about this, that it's not like about there is a school, classroom, and after that, no education. Education is everywhere, in every field. Today, I am in Gdańsk. You know about that. It's the Second World War broke out here in Gdańsk. And what we have here the Great Museum of the Second World War, which is totally digital. Like it is super new technologies implemented. I recommend you to visit. But why I'm talking about that? Because it is very crucial to not to just to teach how to prepare to work, but to prepare to live. Because we will have more and more free time, leisure time, and to spend it effectively. It's not like, okay, so every minute I am going to do in order to do something positive for my job. No, when I'm talking about effective, it means that making us happier, because it is there are plenty of fields which are very, very important, what drives and what make the society going further. It is also psychological thing, and the researchers show that if we are spending our leisure time effectively, then it makes us more happier, because when we are just scrolling something in the internet, you know, that's just this not active thing, it is then it make us sad. Okay, that's what researchers say. So education in every field, everywhere, not to prepare to work, but to prepare to live.
Well, you're all painting a very positive picture. So where are we? What are the challenges, Oscar? Are we on the right track?
I think we're on the right track, but we have built structures over ages that do not actually foster this type of insights shared by the panel. One concrete example that we've been working on is to try to get engineers, maybe working with dated technologies, to change careers and reskill to become teachers and to become licensed teachers. But it's the universities providing that education, and university starts in Sweden at least, September 1st or January 1st, and you need to be in the classroom. And these are people, very seasoned people. So we need to adapt. Can we start these trainings every week? Can we have it a hybrid of digital and physical? Can you actually start working in the school from day one, and then you actually train to become the licensed teachers in parallel? So I think the whole structures that we've built, we need to change those, and that takes a lot of time, and that's a main challenge for us.
So do you think, Oscar, that things will very much move more online when it comes to education, and how much of our experience over the last 18 months with the pandemic has contributed to that?
The short answer is a lot, because we now understand very clearly also what does work online and does not work online. So I think we will be better in actually creating the offline learnings and interactions and creativity sessions, and knowing exactly when online is appropriate. So I think we know a lot that we didn't really know 2 years ago, but we need to take on the nature of the beast, and that's the structures and the different silos and the interaction between the private and public and academia. And that's very difficult, and it will be interesting to hear Jan, for example, elaborating on that one, where you are.
I can see that you're keen to jump in, Jan.
Absolutely. I can't wait. So I firmly believe that it's all, as you said, it's about the integration of sectors. It's really, we need to work together. We need to learn and work and engage. So I like this notion and this concept of engagement, across sectors, across age groups, across, experience levels, for a number of reasons. And that is something probably also interesting relating to, what's the optimal size of such structures and ecosystems. Obviously, here in Liechtenstein, we have small ecosystem, which is really supporting this. So very naturally, we would always think in terms of international, cross-sectoral. We would always engage, and so maybe also for larger countries or regions, maybe it's an idea to have more hubs, which kind of then can kind of learn or project kind of this Liechtenstein experience into clusters, and then those clusters, of course, they are networked, which again is very typical here for what we do. And it's another thing I'd like to bring up really, which is what we also in education get our head around a lot is how can we teach students to solve problems that have not even been encountered yet, using tools that have not even been invented yet, right? So, I mean, what are we teaching them, right? And that, I think, relates to another really important aspect. We need to teach way beyond technical, right? Even though, and I'm saying that as an information systems professor, and I'm excited about AI and blockchain and whatnot and digital technologies, but I think it is about really those attitudes and the characteristics, to be courageous, to be curious, and to be able to process information, to be able to network with others, to think out of the box, which is what also in a world which is so fastly moving is probably the constant that you actually enjoy change and you can master, you can navigate, you can surf the waves really, And this, again, you don't learn in classroom, but you learn it by experience in such engagement hubs or innovation labs, one might call it.
Well, let's get some on the ground reaction. Justina, how are you handling all this in Poland?
Yes, so I am listening to Jan and Oscar, and I am smiling because I totally agree with you. And what we are doing, we also see that it is a huge challenge how to teach unknown to get ready for the unknown. And what is very important, so I can paraphrase what you, Jan, said. It's like to teach skills to get new skills and all the time,
so to speak.
It is also, of course, okay, some people can think, okay, but I am not creative, I am scared of that. But let's think about the small children. They are all creative, and it's very important to make them to stay with that. Exactly. So creativity, and the third and the last but not least, creativity. So, and what we are doing, for example, you asked me what we are doing. For example, a few weeks ago, we have launched a huge program to buy the tools like 3D printers, microcontrollers, for all the primary schools. And it is like the first thing, like the first to open this discussion in Poland to how to teach those skills to get new skills, because we believe that one more creativity and under creativity, you have, okay, if you think you are scared of speaking loud about your ideas, it is very important to teach students to work together, because in team, you have different characters. And okay, maybe you are shy, but there will be a person, a leader, that will dig deeply in order to get your ideas from you, and that is very important. Competencies, the people learn from each other. It is the best way to learn new things.
How does Europe compare with the rest of the world when it comes to reskilling? Justina, do you want to have a quick response on that first?
Yeah, so there are plenty of fields when we are talking about reskilling and upskilling, because I can see that still it is changing, but still we think about this a little bit in silos. Okay, so there are programs for entrepreneurs, there are programs for teachers, there are programs for students, etc., etc. So, and what was mentioned by my colleagues before me, it was like this intersectional and it is very crucial, and it is changing, and now I think it is crucial to the whole world to do that. Of course, when we are talking about application of this experimentation, I like to look at Finland, where they have a great application of, for example, those new technologies, new hardware like 3D printers, etc. Because it doesn't have to be different task, but because the task is like a tool, because, for example, they are creating their own furniture,
okay,
and we can say what for, yeah, but it is very important because those skills are built through those tasks.
All right, and Oscar, how about you? Who can we learn from, and how well is Europe doing on a global stage?
I think it's very difficult questions to answer, but I think sort of comparing it maybe to the US, I think we have a quite close bond in many countries between sort of the society and the individual, and we sort of take maybe a bit larger responsibility as the officials in actually making sure that the individuals get the training needed. But I would like to quick word on actually those who we are not reaching yet, because I think that the how is pretty obvious. We have the tools and the capacities, but to get real learning, you also as an individual need to understand why should I learn this? And there are big groups in our society that yet they're not interested in new technologies or digitalization. They're on the outside, and trying to get them on the inside is a completely different task than someone on the inside, like inspired and wanting to learn. And I think that's also what we focused on really much in our digital day, really trying to reach those who are not yet insiders in terms of digitalization.
Do you think this is the biggest challenge facing Europe when it comes to this topic?
I think so, and at least for Sweden, that's the case. I think we're pretty advanced in many areas, and it's a small country and a lot of skills and capacities. But there are in Sweden, we're 10 million people. There are some 500,000 people, adults, that do not regularly go on the internet. And what happens with our society when we get such a big group that's not on the inside? Well, we've seen some of the effects of globalization and what type of maybe leadership and type of turbulence it can create when big groups do not feel that they're part of something and they don't see the benefits. So I think there is a big social aspect to this topic.
And how can we get those on the outside into the inside? Jan, a final word from you, perhaps?
Well, I think it is about setting examples, and it's about providing opportunities to engage. So that's again what I'm really excited about. And I would like to invite you all to come to Liechtenstein or get in touch with us here. It's probably kind of the beauty and the tininess of the place in a way, which makes everything very close and very engaged and networked by nature. But it's really happening here, and I enjoy that a lot. Like, so we go to companies, for instance, now from university, we open labs at their facilities. You know, we bring in students, we bring in international colleagues, we bring in other companies, we bring in society to go and to experience, to look at what is a blockchain and how does AI work, and can I see a robot? You can go there with your kids, you know, on the weekends and see that really, and we have initiatives to talk about it, and we just this week we had the Digital Summit. Loads of people go, and it's in the media, and you make it approachable, and you know, and so that you make it something interesting. I think this is what's important. So don't make it a huge big policy program only. Like, you need that, but do smaller things which serve as magnets, and also to demonstrate the possible, and to also create some sort of excitement. Develop ecosystems, right? So also in our research we talk about digital ecosystems. How can you do that? How can you get the right people together? And it's always, in my understanding, it's the doing together, right? When things happen, and that's fantastic.
All right, well, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.